imagine you accept this guy having you go to his house and he is just shirtless and sweatpants and socks and slides on, and you got ready and nice, and he's like, okay, like, you want to hang out in my room? Like, no, like that's grimy and it's so low effort. You are too accessible. You are always on your phone. You pick up every time he calls. You answer every text. I'm all for open communication. When you're talking to someone new and you're really into them, yes, you should communicate, but there is no reason that right when you meet someone, you need to be on hours and hours upon phone calls. You need to be texting literally every hour throughout the hour. Everyone has a job. And if you find yourself having so much free time where you're able to spill all this time into a guy, into a man that has not proven himself yet, then you need to get a hobby. When you are too accessible, a lot of the times some guys, especially if they're insecure or they have a lot of trauma and they want some woman to be their therapist or their mommy and help heal them, they are going to take advantage of your lack of boundaries. When you are overly accessible and you're responding to everything he needs or every single call, he'll call you a bunch of times in a row and you pick up, and even when you want to go out and do something or you have to do something, if you're setting aside what you need to do just to cater to him, you have a lack of boundaries and you need to set your standards up. You need to ensure that you keep your own self-respect and do what you need to do, because your world revolves around you, not him. When you just start dating a guy, you cannot just put everything to the back burner so he can feel comfortable and he can be happy and he can feel safe, when that's not your responsibility. It's a man's responsibility to ensure that you feel safe. Way more things can happen to us as women than something happening to him in the dating process. So make sure to get a life, keep living in your day-to-day routine. Don't alter your life or your routine for a guy just because you're really into him and you started talking to him. He can wait, and don't lower your standards or disregard your boundaries just because you're worried that a guy might leave or he might not want to talk to you anymore. It doesn't matter if he's the richest guy, if he's the kindest guy, if he's the smartest, if he has a great job. It doesn't matter what it is. If a guy's willing to leave you because you're not willing to put everything in your life to the side because he needs to talk to you for 3 hours a day, then he's not the one. Next is a really, really big one. Your actions don't match your words. And we usually talk about how a man will show you through his actions if he really likes you, if he values you, if he wants to really be with you. Men value action. So when he sees that you as a woman, you're not actually going through with what you say you're gonna go through, that's gonna turn him off, and he's gonna see that he can either manipulate you or he's able to guide you into a different direction. He may start to think that you're all talk. So for me, a big one was when I was in a really toxic relationship, I would always threaten to leave. Like probably once a week, like I'd be like, I'm gonna leave, don't talk to me, like I'm gonna block you. And yeah, I'd leave, but then a day, 2 days later, we would just come back and it'd be the same old thing, same old story over and over and over again. And that's how men start to see, okay, I have an emotional pull on her. Like I know that I can manipulate my way back into her life. It doesn't matter how dirty he does you, he's gonna be able to manipulate you so you can take him back because your actions don't back up what you're saying. Also, if you consistently tell a man that you expect him to provide and that you don't chase and that you're not gonna, go after him if he decides to leave, but then you go around and you're consistently texting him, or you want to plan a date, or you take him out and you pay. If you are doing any of that and you're first telling a man, I want a provider, I don't chase, like I attract, but yet you're doing the opposite, guys will not respect that. Guys are gonna just think that they can have any type of, again, control over you and that they can manipulate you into doing whatever they want you to do. That kind of leads to my next point in terms of telling a guy, you don't do this or you don't do that or whatever. Don't over explain everything. If you keep over explaining to a guy, like if you are with him and he can't do anything right, or the relationship isn't on good terms, or things are toxic, whatever it is, and you keep trying to over explain yourself, explain how you want to heal the relationship, explain your feelings and try to navigate his feelings. If you're constantly trying to help him get better in the relationship and you're over explaining, that's the quickest way for a guy to not respect you, and it's going to turn him off. If a guy isn't into you enough to want to work through things together and navigate communication together, if you're the one that's always initiating talks, or you're the one that's always initiating, hey, I wanna discuss this, I wanna look into this, I wanna look into that. If a guy either one, ignores the problems that you have, or two, he's not even aware that these are issues, like the toxicity that's going on is issues, then he's not the one. A man that truly doesn't want to go through and navigate different issues with you, he doesn't actually truly value you, and he kind of just wants you to just be quiet. If a man does not ask you or wants to sit down with you and navigate different parts of your relationship, then he either cannot communicate, and if that's the guy you want to be with, then you can choose that, but you're going to consistently be in your masculine energy, or he doesn't care enough. And if he doesn't care enough, he's not gonna want to ever truly learn how to communicate, and he's not going to change that for you. And a guy that doesn't care about changing that for you, and he doesn't care about communication, he doesn't care at all. So the more that you over explain in text, on a phone call, in person, about your feelings, about what you want to fix, about how to make the relationship better, if he's not mentally there yet, or if he doesn't care to get there mentally, then it's a lost cause, and you're gonna just continuously turn him off. And that's why, again, they won't respect you. Once he gets tired of you basically like nagging him, because in their eyes it's nagging. To us, it's like, I wanna fix this, I wanna fix this. But if the man does not want to fix it with you because he doesn't like you enough, they just see it as you nagging and you being annoying. And he's just gonna wind up not really respecting you, and he's just gonna wind up either leaving, being with someone else, whatever it may be. My next reason why a man may not respect you is because you do not put the ball in his court. This kind of has to go into like, he needs to prove himself through action, but also we need to be careful as women not to want to always control the situation. What I mean by ensure the ball is in his court is saying, let him call the shots. Let him basically lead. If he's like, oh, I'd love to take you out on a date, and you go, okay, that sounds great. He asks, where should we go? The ball is in your court, right? You want a man that's going to make the decision. And you can give him a few options. You can say, I like XYZ. But if you consistently have the ball in your court and you're making the decisions and you're calling the shots, the whole entire relationship is gonna be like that. And men don't realize this. The whole relationship's gonna be like that. And then you're both gonna get into, you're in the masculine and he's in the feminine, with you always kind of making all the decisions and doing all the work. Then it's gonna be harder to get out of that like kind of shift. Because once you're the one that's always making all the choices, he's gonna get comfortable in that, and he's gonna feel like that's like, okay, like she feels safe, or this kind of works for us. But guess what? If you're on this channel, you probably don't like that. You don't wanna be the one that's always making the choices, and you don't wanna be the one that's always calling all the shots and telling him where to take you out. The best way is to always put the ball back in his court. So if he wants to take you out and he asks like, where do you want to go? What places do you like? Italian, sushi, I don't know, Indian, whatever it may be. And you could say, oh, I live near here, or I live on this, whatever, in this town. That's what I like. Allow him to pick a place or find a place, and consistently ensure that it is in his court. And a lot of people say, oh, this is mind games, this is too complicated, whatever. But I'm telling you, because after a while, when you get too comfortable in that dynamic and you want a man that's more assertive, a man that can plan, a man that takes action, you're not gonna take as much action. Sometimes you naturally meet a man that wants the ball in his court and will figure everything out. But if you're with a guy that can't do that and he consistently puts the ball in your court, then you're gonna get tired really fast, and that's probably not the guy you wanna end up with. If a man truly wants to prove himself, if he really likes you and he really wants to be with you, he will take the effort to score and draw you closer to him. That means the ball's in his court, he wants to score with you, so he's gonna make sure that he takes the appropriate steps. The more a guy shows you through action that he wants to be with you and wants you, that's when the feminine feels safe and you can actually go through with him, and you feel safe to trust him, that he will actually lead you on a date, that he will actually make you feel comfortable, instead of you being in your headspace the entire time thinking, oh, I chose this restaurant, was this a bad idea, should I not have gone here, like anything like that. If you consistently accept a low effort type of date or low effort communication, whatever to you can be low effort in dating, a guy is not going to respect you. For some women, that's coffee dates. For some women, that's ice cream dates. I'm not here to tell you which one to do. I don't care. For me personally, I don't really like a coffee date because I've experienced very low-key dates like that, and it doesn't spark anything. It seems more like, are we gonna even be friends? It's not really like that sensual energy that I would look for. And when I was on dating apps, I'd have guys ask, oh, do you want to come to my place? Like, I have a pool, I have a hot tub. And I would say, no, like, I'm not going to your house on a first date. Like, that's odd. And then they would gaslight you and be like, oh, like, I just have a nice pool, we could have a few drinks, that'd be cool. Like, no, then he's just gonna lead you to his bedroom. That is not any effort. He doesn't even have to get ready. Imagine you accept this guy having you go to his house and he is just shirtless in sweatpants and socks and slides on, and you got ready and nice, and he's like, okay, like, you want to hang out in my room? Like, no, like that's grimy and it's so low effort. When I was in college, I was talking to a guy and he consistently kept rescheduling. He would say, oh, we should go here. And I'd be like, oh yeah, that's great. Like, let me know. He never let me know. Oh, like, let's meet up here. And then I'd be like, okay, like, I'll be there. If I see you there, I'll see you there. And then like, it took hours and then I finally saw him. And then we scheduled a date and it didn't happen. So then we rescheduled again and then it didn't happen again. At first I was upset because I think it was for Valentine's Day and I was very sad. But then I wasn't gonna, reschedule with him again. I was like, this is too much. I said, if you're too busy to even go on a date with me, then I think you're just too busy for a relationship. I had to just put it that way because I am not going to let myself revolve around some other man and his schedule. My time is just as precious as yours. And if you cannot actually create a time to cater to me, then you probably don't have time to even be in a relationship. You're not gonna have time to communicate with me. You're not gonna have time to make me feel safe in the relationship. You're not gonna have time to spend with me. If I was to be with him and keep accepting these low effort dates, then he would know she must really, really like me. I can get away with whatever. I can probably just have her come over even later and not even put in the effort to make dinner or whatever it is. I think this is gonna be the #1 tip in terms of why a man does not respect you. I feel like all women have done this at some point. We've all been that bottom of the barrel, rock bottom, where we have gone to the absolute lengths for a man that did not deserve it. You are sitting there and begging or crying or whining, asking him to change. That is going to turn away any man. And honestly, it's a blessing in disguise because if you have to beg a man to change or better himself for you, then he isn't the one for you. But also make sure to look inward and know that you are trying to change someone who doesn't want to change, and that is on you. That is not on them. If you're sitting there and you're saying, oh, like, you're not acting right, you're not planning any dates, you keep looking at other women, and you keep harping on it, and it's a conversation you have over and over and over, and eventually you get so emotionally attached and hurt from it, then he's going to lose respect for you. Because what you're doing is you're trying to get him to change. But not just men. No one is going to change unless they truly want to. But with men, you can't ask them to stop doing something and then they'll just listen and do it. Like, if they don't have the respect and the love for you from the beginning to not, let's say, not look at another woman, then you asking for him to stop, it's not going to do anything. Like, that's already a habit that he's always had. You're out together and he's looking at other women. He's probably looking at other women on his phone. He's probably looking at other women when you're not together. It's happening when you don't even see it. You can't control what someone does on their own time. If he's still not planning dates or he's not acting correctly, whatever it may be, he's going to be in the same mindset when you're separated anyways. Like, when you guys are not together, he can try and shift when you are together and try to be better, but you're gonna see right through it. When you sit there and cry and whine and beg for a man to change, it drives them away and it also rips them out of their masculine energy. Even though they already weren't in it to begin with, they're gonna go off and find another person that makes them feel a bit better about themselves. Because if you're sitting there, he may not even be registering what you're saying. He just sees that he's making you cry and now he feels bad. That's one thing. A lot of these men, they don't have good EI and they will just deem it as, oh, I'm terrible, like, I'm making her feel bad. And then they'll talk to another girl and she makes him feel like he does everything right. You can't beg someone to change. You just can't do it. Because it also relates back to the over-explaining. If he can't communicate, men just shut down. They will shut down. They won't know what to say. You're gonna be like, why aren't you saying anything? They're just gonna be quiet. You're gonna get anxious. It's a whole thing. And I just encourage you, do not repeat yourself more than once. Like, if you're with a guy and he looks at other women, you catch him looking at other women, personally, I would just cut it off right there because why waste my time? But if you really wanna say, hey, I noticed you're looking at other women, like, if you truly wanna be with me, that's disrespectful, and I would appreciate you not doing that. You can see what happens then. And when you're crying to him about what he's doing wrong and begging him to stop, once again, you're gonna see that he has that emotional pull over you, and that you will probably stay no matter what. If you keep fighting and fighting and fighting for him and going into your masculine energy and trying to prove yourself, trying to prove why you guys belong together and prove your worth to him, he's just gonna take advantage of it. Once he gets tired of it, he's just probably gonna dispose of you, and it's not gonna feel good. Another huge reason a man might not respect you is if you are mothering him and you're always teaching him. And I have another video, a whole video on mothering and how to fix that if you feel like you kind of have that controlling mothering habit or tendency, and I'll link it up above here. But if you are consistently mothering your man, it takes him out of his masculine energy, and you guys basically shift. You're the masculine, he's the feminine. And if a man naturally is not feminine and he wants to, lead and guide and protect, provide, whatever it is, if you are consistently teaching him or telling him he's doing something wrong, that's going to put him down, and he's not going to really respect the things you do or when you do put effort in. Because if you're continuously doing everything around the house and you're controlling every single thing, once he gets so used to it, he's not really going to appreciate the value of it. And this is a big way also that men lose attraction. If you are mothering him, no man is attracted to his mother. I mean, unless they have, like serious issues. If you are mothering him and you are always trying to control and teach him how to do things, it's gonna strip him, and he's gonna feel like he has no value because you already know how to do everything. So what is he there for, right? He's not gonna have his sense of purpose in the relationship. Also, just have to reflect and think inward. You wouldn't want to date some guy who's constantly correcting everything you do, whether it be the way you drive, the way you brush your teeth, the way you do dishes, the way you fold laundry, whatever it may be. If you're with someone that's consistently correcting you, you're eventually just gonna get very tired of it. You're gonna think, okay, does this person think I'm dumb? Like, does he think I'm not capable? And you're also gonna feel like, why does everything have to be his way? Guys, usually, if they're a good, healthy, masculine man, a big sense of their purpose is to help you, and it's to serve you. They just value you, and they want to actually take care of you. But if you are constantly interjecting and trying to explain to him why, the way he's doing it is wrong, or how him taking care of you that way, you don't like it, or whatever it may be, the attraction's gonna, it's gonna fall off, and he won't really respect when you do other things, because he's gonna get so used to you controlling everything that it's gonna be the norm for him. And then again, the polarity is gonna be all messed up. You're gonna be masculine and he's gonna be feminine. Lastly, my last tip, which I know many of us are guilty of because I think we've all been there, is if you carry the I hate men mentality, a guy's not gonna respect you for that. It's just gonna turn them off. It's gonna turn them off. There's many guys out there that can acknowledge men sometimes suck, men can cheat, they can lie, they can steal, whatever it is, men can be very toxic. But if you consistently carry around and you're talking to a guy that you're really into that you hate men, and all men do this and all men lie, and you have these limited beliefs surrounding men, he's not going to feel like he can change that. And this is another one of those examples where you kind of have to look at it from the other perspective. Like, if you were with a man that was like, oh, women are so annoying, I hate women this, women that, he's basically a misogynist, and that is just a huge turnoff. You're not going to feel safe around a guy like that. You're not going to trust one. It's just a big turnoff. And if you consistently say, like, I hate men, you never know. It could be a really weird guy, and he could purposefully want to hurt you even more if you tell him everything you hate about men and cast out all your demons to him and say, I hate men because of this man did this to me. You're just kind of giving him a whole spiel on how, men suck. And that also shows you have a little EI, emotional intelligence level. If you can't differentiate between the good and the bad of men, and you just kind of clump them all together, it makes you seem insecure, and it also makes you seem just not as bright. Not in a mean way, I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but you have to be able to acknowledge, just because men have hurt me in the past from these reasons, it doesn't mean I have to tell all men I hate them, especially if you're out on a dating app or out talking to a guy and you're actively dating. It's if you hate men so much, then why are you dating? A true healthy masculine man wants a woman that can self-reflect just like he can. And if you are consistently saying you hate men, it'll drive a healthy man away. A toxic man isn't going to respect you, and he will probably use that hatred to his advantage, and he can easily manipulate you and treat you so well in the beginning. He can earn your trust and then go around and probably, you know, make you feel even worse or do something 10 times worse. Because some men are like that. They want to hurt women. You have to be very careful who you talk to, things you say, and what limited beliefs you carry. You don't want to walk around with the limited belief that you hate all men and that all men suck, because if you do that, you're just gonna attract the wrong ones to begin with anyways. Okay ladies, that is all that I have for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. It was so fun to make. So I will see you in the next one. Bye.